Hey everyone, we're going to talk about the strategy the United States uses during the Pacific theater of war against Japan called the island hopping strategy. So, after Pearl Harbor, where the US was attacked and their navy was pretty much depleted and destroyed by the Japanese, they joined the war, and they're quickly going to have to defend Midway Island, like we talked about before, where they were attacked by Japan and had to hold off against them, and actually defeated them even though they were outnumbered 2-1, giving the US, a huge victory and momentum to now use their island hopping strategy. So starting from Pearl Harbor, after the Battle of Midway, the US is going to launch a two-pronged attack on the Japanese. They're going to go island to island, hopping over heavily defended islands, and kill or capture the Japanese on these weaker islands, build a military base there, and launch an attack to the next island, hopping the more defended islands, taking over the weaker ones. Once they do that, the more defended islands they leave behind are now cut off from supply lines, and they wither and die and become weaker. So they're going to do this in a few places. So first of all, they're going to do it on this northern area of the Pacific, as you see the line going from Pearl Harbor and over here, but they're also going to do it from the southern area near Australia and launch one from there as well. So this is going to be a two-pronged island hopping strategy. In the northern islands, Admiral Nimitz is going to use his navy. Remember, Nimitz equals navy. He's the leader of the navy during World War II in the Pacific. And he's going to launch the island hopping strategy up here. Kill or capture the Japanese on the island, build another base, build a military base, and then hop to the next island, skipping over the heavily defended ones until they get to the Philippines and hopefully Japan. Then General MacArthur, the commander of the army, and also the commander that you may remember, who was in the Philippines and fled before the Japanese Death March took place, where American and Filipino troops had to march under terrible conditions, heat and starvation and such. He is going to regroup and push the U.S. Army and naval forces through the southern islands. So together, they're doing a two-pronged strategy, hopping over islands, building these bases, killing or capturing the Japanese, and hopping to the next one until they get to the Philippines and hopefully Japan. Once they both reach the Philippines, General MacArthur that we talked about here, the army guy that we've been speaking of, he is going to liberate and help free those American troops that were captured in the Philippines by the Japanese, during the Japanese Death March and the invasion of the Philippines. So I'm going to show you a video that is going to go more in depth with this. Please watch it. It gives you lots of great details. Thanks, guys.
By this time, however, the front in China is no longer viable. President Roosevelt divides the Pacific under two commands. So now, as the Allies advance from Guadalcanal, Admiral Chester Nimitz stands ready to mount the Navy's thrust across the Central Pacific, while General Douglas MacArthur prepares to wind his way through the Southwest Pacific. MacArthur argues that dividing resources between two campaigns will dilute the Allies' strength. By this point, though, the American people are building planes and ships with such fervor that both Pacific campaigns, as well as the troops in Europe, can move ahead at full throttle. The Allies' strategy includes a second, creative element. Rather than attack all of the islands held by the Japanese, the Allies will selectively island hop. Troops will bypass the enemy's heavily defended islands and instead target those with weaker defenses. And with each new island, the Allies will construct airfields to support the next battle. Admiral William F. Halsey is now coordinating attacks with MacArthur. So as Halsey climbs the Solomon Islands, he hops over the stronghold of Kolombangara in favor of invading the lightly defended Vella La Vella. MacArthur avoids the fortress-like Rabaul, instead electing to progress across northern New Guinea. The skipped islands are then left to wither on the vine. Meanwhile, Admiral Nimitz's forces are doggedly pressing across the Central Pacific, launching one amphibious invasion after another. In the Gilbert Islands, the Marshall Islands, the Mariana Islands. With each landing, his men refine the complex, treacherous challenges of invading from the sea. Reaching the Marianas provides a special bonus, giving the Allies airfields that put the Japanese homeland within range of American B-29 bombers. The Allies' two-pronged strategy yields another benefit. It keeps the Japanese off balance, never sure where the Allies will strike next, and often finding themselves in the wrong place at the wrong time. Not only does the Allies' innovative plan save lives, it rapidly accelerates their timetable, so that by September 1944, Nimitz has already reached the Palau Islands, and MacArthur, Morotai. Now, as the two forces prepare to merge, a question looms. What will be the Allies' next target? Formosa or the Philippines?